like a Hellcat.
Before we get started, I have a favor. If you enjoy my content and want to see me continue to improve in both quality and size, please check out my Patreon linked in the description. Any amount helps and it is greatly appreciated. There are so many rewards for each level of donation, so go check it out. Now back to the video. Alright, starting section 3 of 4 of the BlizzCon Overwatch 2 recap thing with enemy units and the new hero look, so let's hop into this.
When we look back at BlizzCon 2019 and we talk about some of the criticisms that we had, one of them as a development team that we felt was that the combat was just not engaging enough. So the fact that our combat wasn't highly engaging to us as players meant that we had a problem with the enemy units and that they just weren't feeling interesting enough.
Just because we show something to the public, it doesn't mean that that is what it's going to be. If we make discoveries where things aren't working how we want, they're not reading how we want, they're not fun enough, we're totally down to reinvestigate, reiterate, and just really find ways to level kind of all aspects of things until they feel good.
I would say a major focus of all of 2020 was to make the null sector enemy unit.
That thing looks horrifying. I can't wait to try to kill it.
It's more engaging, and some of this was adding new units and evolving other units that we had.
Interesting combat for us is varied combat for us. So sometimes we're going to ask you to protect something.
Speaking of varying, throughout this whole presentation, we never saw a single enemy Talon unit. They're holding back on us, and I don't know why.
Overwatch 2. Sometimes we're just going to ask you to get someplace. Sometimes we might ask you to escort something across a map while it's being attacked. And so it's a different type of spawning, and it's a different type of units that are in there, and it's a simpler objective.
There's a lot of units Aaron is talking about. Lots of different units, lots of different types. They serve different purposes. You do different things to them. It's really going to help a lot of us find the fun and make sure that Overwatch 2 is a blast.
One of those sets of enemies is what we internally call objective units. And they're typically units that don't even attack players. The simplest version would be something like the Breacher.
It's two legs with this huge bomb on its back. It was built to do one thing: slowly and methodically march towards its objective, and then it transforms, and the bomb opens up like a flower, starts spinning and charging up, and you hear this.
That's honestly like a better version of the giant bomb thing from
before it's gonna explode and you have to take
the
it
archives
out.
missions.
We have units like the slicers, which is before they're little. We call them the chickens. Like little chicken sometimes. They run really fast. You know, we have a guy we're experimenting with right now who flies and drops these bombs that create these kind of ever-expanding smoke fields that you have to escape from, but because they're super deadly. So you really get to use your mobility options to kind of escape that.
There's things like the Polar. You could be moving
This
through
one is going to be
these
terrifying.
darker alleys, and as soon as you hear that Polar spawn, it suddenly becomes like really spooky and kind of scary.
This very tall, elegant-looking character that's blindfolded, 3 orbs that circle around her as her eyes, and we basically spun those orbs around her head as a big tell, launched them at the player, and then it activates this tractor beam, and it's bringing you in, and then you get this awesome like anticipation of the hair opening up, so
Honestly,
you know what's about to happen.
I think half of these AI characters, they could like strip their abilities from them and put them into other characters and make actual good like
units to feel like
character
they're just,
kits, honestly.
Oh, this guy's got double health and double damage. We want to make sure the elite units feel like they have different behaviors and have different attacks. So for example, an Omnic Grunt, normally he fires his gun, he dies pretty simply. If you fight elite grunts, his weapon fires in a burst fire pattern. It's very deadly if you're close, and if you manage to take them out, they don't just die right away. They instead can crawl on the ground towards you, and you try to back away because if they get to you, they can explode.
That'd be scary.
Artillery at BlizzCon, we're all just staring at this, and we're like, what are we gonna do to level this up?
One of the things we really felt wasn't coming through was the damage states. We intend for players to shoot these guns off, but currently it's not reading as something that can happen in the game easily.
We change the design, we change the animation, and we go back and forth and just continually iterate.
We decided, hey, you know what? We're gonna just delete half of these damage states, so now it's super readable.
From an animation standpoint, we decided on the spinning barrel version. Just did this really nice kickback. The tip of the barrel opens up when it's about to fire and shifts into place and boom!
It's really amazing to be fighting an artillery unit and you can see the guns on the side, and as you're shooting the guns, they're actually visibly taking damage, and then you can blow them off and it reacts and kind of stumbles to the side, and really
that's
makes you feel like
cool.
you're there, and it's super fun.
In a lot of the stuff we've showed so far, you're fighting null sector. These are evil killing machines intent on marching you down. The way you're going to stop them is by shooting them, and we want to make sure that feels responsive and visceral.
There's
Really
a
making
dynamic
sure that
system
when
where
they
you can
take a
make them
hit,
fall
it
into each
feels
other.
like their whole body has been
It is kind of
punched, almost like
funny.
hit by a truck. That's what really sells this fantasy that you're playing these superheroes. One of the cool pieces of technology that we created was what we call chain hit reactions. Oftentimes you'll find null sector bunched up, marching maybe a half a dozen units abreast.
I don't know why it's so funny.
They're gonna knock into the
Oh,
plane
let's go
with
back to it
superheroes.
real quick.
One of the cool
Let's go
pieces of
back to it real
technology
quick.
that we
I don't know why
created
it's so
was what we
funny.
call
We
chain hit
just see this one back here.
Oftentimes you'll find null sector bunched up, marching maybe a half a dozen units
He just gets freaking thrown to the floor. Oh my gosh, he just gets thrown to the floor.
abreast. You expect if you shoot one, they're gonna knock into their buddies. So we make that happen. Turns out it's really fun too.
Honestly, it'd be really cool to set up that kind of situation in an actual game. So new hero looks. We get a new look at
that we showed
4
last year
characters,
at
even though
BlizzCon
we
was the new
technically
looks for our
have
heroes.
7 total
The theory
characters
kind
that
of
we
going in was
also
like, you want to preserve
know.
the essence of your hero, but also
because we also
kind of
have
show
Soldier
that
76,
as heroes
Bastion, and
evolve
Torbjorn that
kind
we've
of
seen
change and move
teases
forward.
of.
So we have a lot
So,
more
yeah.
new looks. So I'm excited to see how players and fans react to all of the ones that we've done so far.
Maybe we'll share
Apologize
some
for any
of
noise
those
in the background.
new looks,
My family doesn't know how to be
today,
quiet.
which would be cool.
We're going to reveal McCree's new look for Overwatch 2
McCree.
as well as Pharah, and we're really excited to show off some of our first villains with Reaper and Widowmaker. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about technical wear, kind of like technical clothing. What that really is using very techie fabrics, as well as having very intricate but functional straps designed in a way that it's very aesthetically pleasing. With McCree, we took a couple
Jesse
different
McCree.
approaches. He's got this classic cowboy look that it's really hard to mess with, because if you try to make him too sophisticated or too techie, it might not feel right for the character. But as a concept artist, you
I see
always
people
want to
complaining
change
about it.
things
I actually
around,
really
try
like this
different
version of
shapes
McCree.
and silhouettes, so we did identify as Red Serape as the main thing for McCree. We also tried a couple different things with McCree's cowboy hat. We didn't really want to mess with that too much because that's a very iconic part of him. So that's another piece that we kept. We tried some retro cowboy looks that mixed in some tech here and there. Some that were a little bit more techy than others, some that were a little bit more classic cowboy. We gave him
I like the one on the far right. That
and it
needs
really
to be a
gives him
skin.
a nice kind of like a more aged look. What's different about Pharah than some of our other heroes is Pharah's completely covered in armor. We didn't want to change her silhouette too much. It was more about experimenting on different colors. So it felt really appropriate for her to be the one to harken back to those original Overwatch colors of white and blue. One of the things that we wanted to update on Pharah was her visor. Instead of being completely opaque and reflective, we tried a little bit more of a transparent approach, and being able to see through it a little bit now allows us to see some more of her emotions. Reaper was actually the one that I
Reaper's
was very
looks-
excited to work on, because
It
I
looks
could see a lot
awesome,
of potential
but
in
it
how we can
looks
integrate
kind of just
his
like a skin.
cloak
Kind of just
and
looks like
cowl
well, I
and
guess
his armor
sort of
and
a
how we
Talon
can make
recruit
all
style
those
skin,
shapes
because it
really
doesn't
sing within
look
that
as
classic,
menacing
Reaper silhouette. We tried a couple
as
takes for the first
Reaper.
pass, like completely silver arms.
This one makes me mad because minus like the trench coat and hood and mask, that's one of the characters that I designed, and it kind of frustrates me just a little bit.
More layers to his jacket.
That was the other one, the one in the middle. That one looks like Jacob Fry
silver
from
arms.
Assassin's Creed a little bit.
More
I
layers.
actually like this one better than I like his current one. This one actually looks like it could work as like he's left Talon and this is what he wears now or something like
his
that. I don't
jacket.
know.
Reaper's mask is obviously pretty sacred to us, but the thing you'll notice immediately is that it's now completely silver. Instead of the bone white, he's got this like almost like deadly edgy silver that just gives him that classic Reaper look. With Widowmaker,
It doesn't look dark enough. That's my issue
exploring
with it, I
a breadth of
guess.
ideas. We tried things like a more insectoid approach, treasure hunter. One of them made her feel like a classic Bond villain, so we kind of steered it back towards one of the more cyberpunk looking ones, almost like a futuristic femme fatale, which is basically what Widowmaker is, but she even feels more upgraded. So I'm super glad that we went down this route. We played with different hairstyles too. Widowmaker has the really long ponytail that's really key part of her look. And we really liked the hairstyle on one of the designs that was more of a braid, and it was really interesting look that also preserves Widowmaker's original silhouette with that long ponytail.
We've been working a lot with our domino engine and making our cloth look better. Now that we have this cloth tech, we're going to be able to make some really cool, unique silhouettes that will help them stand out from other heroes. We put a lot of time and effort into our face rig, and what I mean by that is we're gonna be able to get really close to these characters, and it's gonna feel really cool. It is absolutely worth the time and the effort to invest in the technology, and that way we can make these characters do more things that we haven't really been able to do before.
It's been super exciting working on the new looks for Overwatch 2, and it's just been so inspiring to watch the team.
I think
try
my
things that
favorite
we've
of
never
this
tried
set is the
before,
McCree one.
And I just can't wait to show off more.
Because I'm not the biggest fan of the Reaper. Varus is fine, Widow's is fine. Alright. Story development section, it's a long section on its own, so I'll leave it to itself. So thank you all for watching. What do you guys think about the new character looks? What do you guys think about the new enemy units that have been showcased? And what do you guys think about the fact that they're kind of jipping us on Talon? I'm not sure what to think about that, but feel free to tell me what you think. So I'll see you guys in the next one. This is EmeraldAvengerG. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Peace out.